I am really looking forward to sharing with you in this video 3 clear steps to get clarity of mind. Because ultimately what I know is that when we have a lot of decisions to make, perhaps we're going through a stressful period of time, perhaps we've got too much on our plate and we feel overwhelmed. I don't know if any of you have felt that way, stressed, overwhelmed, a bit foggy, tired of making decisions. It really makes sense to learn clear, easy strategies to be able to get clearer in your mind so that you can be calm, you can be confident, and you can make decisions with clarity and certainly look and view in a way of being able to have clarity of mind and calm within your nervous system. So I'm really looking forward to sharing these 3 steps with you today to get clearer in your mind so you can minimize stress and brain fog and overwhelm and indecision and all of those things that can limit us. Now, before I start, I also want to share I am running a 5-day coaching session next week. This is free for everybody in Lead Her Rising group, just half an hour each morning. So if you're really interested in coming along, I'd love to see you there. Just type in the comments me and we will send you details. The other thing is I will be running a virtual retreat on the 11th and 12th of July. So mark out the dates, and if you're interested in that too, you can just type in the chat me and we can make sure that you're looked after, because I really want to be able to share and support you in any way I can. But for today, 3 steps to a clear mind. Now, I have needed these steps over the last 2 weeks. I don't know if any of you know, I've been down in Melbourne presenting on the TEDx stage, presenting workshops to speakers, and it's been a lot on my plate, and I've needed every day to get some clarity of mind to make sure that everything I speak about and everything that I share runs smoothly. So it's definitely tested me. I will be posting my TEDx talk once it's up online into the group so you can see it all. But let's now go through some really clear steps that you can take for yourself. The first thing I want to explain is if you can imagine your mind, the space in your brain, a bit like a garden. And a garden needs to have weeds that are pulled out, otherwise the weeds take over. So the first thing is we need to pull weeds out. The next thing we need to do is to make sure that we plant the things that we want to grow, whether you want to grow fruit trees, whether you want to grow flowers, whether you want to grow vegetables, that is up to you. But you want to make sure that what you plant is what you want to grow. So step number 1, we need to remove weeds. Step number 2, we need to plant what it is that we want to grow. And step number 3, we need to water and fertilize the garden. So I'm going to take you through some clear ways of being able to do that for your own mind. Now, here's the next piece I want to share with you. You can imagine that your mind is impacted by input and output. This is what I mean by that. Your mind is impacted by input, which means what you watch, what you listen, and what you see. So if I'm watching a really horrible movie with a lot of violence, that is input into my mind garden. And so your mind garden is impacted and influenced by what you see and what you hear, which is input. It's also influenced by output, which is what you think and what you say. So if I'm gossiping and telling horrible stories, my mind garden is also impacted by that. So your mind garden, the health of your garden, is affected by what you see and hear, what you input, and what you think and say, which is output. So now let's go through 3 sort of clear, nice, easy steps that you can take to help your input and your output. So let's firstly start by talking about input. So input is what you see and what you hear. The first thing you need to do is to remove the weeds. So what input, what are you seeing and hearing that it's not serving your mental health or your mind space? Now, I can relate to this journey in my own journey. This is 12 years ago now. As some of you may know, my son passed away. I was navigating horrendous grief. I was at the bottom of the ocean, navigating an emotional roller coaster and really struggling with feelings of anxiousness and easily overwhelmed. And here's what I discovered. When I watched the news, when I watched a scary movie, I couldn't sleep. My anxiety levels would go from 5 to 3,000. And I soon learned that watching these things didn't help my mind. So guess what? I switched off the news. I haven't watched the news now for 12 years. I just don't watch it. There's only ever stories of violence, sadness, despair on the news. Not that I want to put my head in the sand and pretend these things don't happen, but knowing about them actually influences me in a negative way. So I still keep up with world events. People still tell me what's going on. I still see things in my Facebook feed, but I'm very, very selective as to what I input into my mind. So I am choosing to remove the weeds. This makes me feel terrible. I'm not watching it. This makes me feel horrible. I'm going to switch it off. So I would like you to consider what weeds, which means what you're seeing and what you're hearing, are influencing your mind health, that you might be able to go, actually, I'm just going to pull that weed out. I can switch that off. I don't need to watch this. So I'm also selective about what movies I watch, what podcasts I listen to, because again, it can influence my sleep and my mind health. So number one, for your input, for the weeds, start getting selective about what you watch and see. The next thing is planting the right seeds. So planting the seeds in the garden, which is being more selective about what I see and listen to, which means I listen to uplifting podcasts. I've got a list of podcasts I can share in the group if you're interested, but I make sure that even when I'm at the gym, I'm not just listening to music, I'm listening to a podcast that helps me learn, and it plants seeds of hope, of inspiration, of learning, of understanding, and that means I'm planting what I want to grow within my own mind space. So remove the weeds for your input, what you're seeing and what you're listening to. Start planting the right seeds. What do you want to listen to? What do you want to learn? What do you want to grow? There's plenty of information out there available, YouTube, movies, podcasts, that actually will serve you in a positive way, and it starts to stimulate beautiful growth in your mind garden. The next thing is watering. As far as watering the garden with your input, I make sure, and this is what I'm looking for, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, I make sure each day, I know it sounds so simplistic, but it works. And that is to look for joy and gratitude. So if I'm going for a walk, I'm not ruminating over the day. I'm actually looking outside at the trees, at the beautiful view, and bringing in, like, what is it that I'm actually grateful for? Where is that little piece of joy today? I saw a dog on the beach running like crazy down to the water today, and I watched it and let that input water my garden by saying, he looks so happy. He looks so happy. So that is addressing your input as far as removing weeds, planting seeds, and watering, looking for joy. Let's now move to looking at output. So output in the mind is what you think and what you say, because this all impacts your mind health. So what you think and say, if we want to remove weeds, it's very obvious. Are you having conversations out loud or in your mind that are critical, filled with criticism, or are they filled with self-doubt, or are they filled with worry? Or are you gossiping and in creating a negative spiral within what you say and what you think within your mind? So I am very, very careful and clear when it comes to my output, what comes out of my mouth and the thoughts that I have, that I ensure that there are no weeds in that. I don't want weeds. I need to pull them out, which means I'm careful about, I don't gossip. I definitely share things with people, and I understand people need to offload and share too. That's not a problem, but I don't add drama to that. So making sure that the conversations that are in your head and then come out of your mouth are positive. Next thing is to plant better seeds, and that is positive words to yourself or others. And so positive words to yourself, yes, you're going to have self-doubt from time to time, and of course you're going to worry. That's natural, but can you also hear from the voice of encouragement or calm or confidence? What would the voice of confidence have to share? What would the voice of support have to share? So words that you say to yourself or others need to have some sort of positive or uplifting or inspiring message in order to have a healthy mind garden. The last thing, watering, what went well is what I love to do. So when we water and fertilize my output, at the end of each day, I just ask myself the question, what went well today? And it might be one word or one sentence. It doesn't need to be a 15-minute monologue. It's just like, what went well today? And when I say that consistently, when the words come out or when I write that down, I start to see the growth, the gains, and these are all really nice, easy steps that you can use. So just to summarize that for you, our mind is influenced by what we see and hear, input. It's also influenced by output, what we say and think. And we want to remove weeds, which means be conscious of what I'm watching, be conscious of what I'm thinking and saying, because that can contain weeds. We want to plant good seeds to grow what we want, which just means I'm mindful of the podcasts that I listen to, the movies that I watch, because that influences my input. I'm looking for positive things. I'm also looking for more supportive conversations. And then to water the garden, I look for joy and gratitude and ask at the end of each day what went well. So I hope these strategies have given you some ideas just on how to make your mind a healthier place. And I share this because my mind was in a very unhealthy place for a very long time. And so I know how hard it is. I know how difficult it is when you're in a hard place to go, look, put on a smile and have a great day. It's not that easy. And it does take work. And these are the steps that are needed to make sure that your garden blooms and doesn't get over with weeds.